Hello everyone, today I'm bringing you some good news and some bad news about my participation in the Batman miniature game. First, the bad news. There was a tournament just about a week ago at the local game store and I wasn't able to go, so there's not going to be a tournament report anytime soon. I'm sorry I missed that one, I just had too much stuff going on and I just couldn't make it. So that's the bad news. The good news is that I did get in a game recently and I took a lot of pictures during it, so I'm actually going to have my first full battle report for you guys. So without further ado, let me show you my brand new crew. I put aside the Arrow crew for the time being and I brought out my new one, which you may have seen teased in another video. But here we have the Legends of Tomorrow Legion of Doom crew. Now, if you're not familiar with the CW TV shows with the Arrow and the Flash and all that, they had a couple of recurring villains. And then when Legends of Tomorrow came up for their second season, they needed a new set of bad guys. So what they did was they collected a bunch of those guys and they made their own Legion of Doom. So it turns out that Night models, even with the limited number of models that they've released based on these TV shows, and let me tell you, Night Models is just doing a fantastic job of saving me a lot of money month after month. Because if they made more of these models, these CW-based TV show models, I would buy them. As it is, it's hard for me to build up the enthusiasm about some of these other models that they're producing. So I'm just saving a lot of money. Guys, if you want me to buy a bunch of stuff, come out with your Malcolm Merlins and your Huntresses and your other guys based on the TV shows. But that's not the point. The point is, here's the crew that I brought. Now technically it's a Mr. Freeze crew. So you can see in the center left we have Captain Cold. He's a sidekick for the Mr. Freeze crew, which means he can be my leader. So I've brought him on as the leader. Then I have my two free agents. It's Captain Cold, so of course you should bring along Heatwave. And then to round out the Legion of Doom, we have Reverse Flash from the TV show. So that's not the full Legion of Doom. That's 3 out of 5 members. That's pretty good. If they ever make a Damien Dark and a Malcolm Merlin, I'll pick them up and see if I can't incorporate them. But for right now, that's the group. The rest of them are my prisoner models that I've been painting up, and I've painted them up in the Iron Heights prison scheme of the dark gray with the IHP and the bar, which you can't really see from these photos, but it's there. So what do we have? We have the high security henchman in the upper right. We have prisoner 1 with the tube. We have Turk in the upper left with his 2 pistols. And who is that? Is that prisoner 3 with the axe? Yep, that's prisoner 3 with the axe. The main reason I brought these guys is because they would be quick to paint. I wanted these guys up and on the table as soon as possible. So I started with the high security henchman because it's one model and he's really expensive. He's like 48 rep or something crazy like that. And then I went from there. I really wanted some more handguns, and Turk is relatively expensive, so I painted him up. And then I figured, okay, what's next? I didn't really want to paint a little spark or anything like that, so I picked a nice 18-point guy with the axe. I do like that model. And then I had about 10 points left over, so that gets that pipe prisoner in there. For equipment, real quickly, I just picked up a grapple gun for the high security henchman. That would have come in handy if I had remembered it in the course of the game. I gave a cooling generator to prisoner 3, the prisoner with the axe. That's really great. I really love whistles in my Arrow crew, so that doing the same kind of thing, yeah, I was quick to pick that up. And I really wanted to take a med pack as well. Now, unfortunately, this is one use only, but I gave that to the tube prisoner, and boy, being able to heal people in the course of a Batman game is really handy. The general idea with this mob, as I can see it, is that they're a medium-ranged firepower crew. They're going to swarm together. Their numbers aren't bad, they're not great, but they can move together in a big clump and lay down a lot of medium-ranged fire and try and support each other that way. With the exception of Reverse Flash. Reverse Flash I'm going to treat exactly like the TV Flash. He's going to zip off on his own. He's going to do his thing. He's going to grab objectives. I didn't realize that he doesn't have Speed Force Master, and Speed Force Master allows you to use 2 powers in a turn. I thought he had that, but he does not. So that really limits his usefulness. But really, it's okay. He can still do a lot of the same stuff, just half as well. Anyway, my opponent is fielding a Batman crew, and I don't have a picture of his actual guys set up, so I'll just briefly tell you what's in it. It doesn't take long. He's got, I believe, the Arkham Knight Batman. He's got the new Nightwing, and he's got the Arkham Knight sniper model. So, all right, so 3 really powerful guys coming onto the table against my kind of semi-horde of punks. We'll see how this goes. Here's a picture of the table real quick. We're playing the Skirmish Scenario, so this is really straightforward. It's mostly just the basic rules. We have our standard deployment zones, the standard usage of the objectives. We're not using any strategies for this game. My opponent asked me if I wanted to use them. I thought, I might as well just do without them. I know Captain Cold has the strategist skill, which allows me to take a second one, but honestly, I just kind of wanted to get on with it and didn't want to think too hard about it. This game's complicated enough right now. I'm still sort of learning how to work this thing. So if I can skip strategies, I would rather do so. You can see my guys lined up outside the helipad and the Gotham City Police Station. Again, my concept is I'm going to clump them all together and I'm going to move forward to the center of the board as a big group, and I'm going to try and have them support each other. So you see Prisoner 3 is up there on the helipad. I've got Captain Cold and Heatwave right in the middle. The other prisoners are nearby them, and way over on the right you have Reverse Flash. He's going to do his own thing. Here you can see my opponent's deployment, such as it is. He's put Batman up on the far left building, and he's put Nightwing up on the far right building. They're going to do their Batclaw song and dance. And then here's my big mistake in this game, is I know basically what Batman does. He Batclaws around, he throws his batarangs, and he punches people. I have a general idea of what he's capable of. I generally know what Nightwing does too. He's an acrobat, he has a Batclaw, he's got his handy stun batons with their mechanic and their crit shock. He's a real close combat monster. I know what he does. Okay, I get that. The thing is, I had absolutely no idea what the Arkham Knight did. I figured, well, he's a former Robin, right? He's got a big gun, he shoots, he does some movement stuff. I don't know. I didn't think too hard about it, and that was that was a gigantic error. Everyone, try and figure out what your opponent's stuff does, even just briefly. You know, don't just forget about it and assume it's okay. So here's the first thing that I didn't realize is he's got undercover, so he just deploys, you know, up 20 centimeters outside of his deployment zone wherever he likes. So this means that he can line up a shot right from the very beginning. And now, I didn't really consider this. I didn't hide my guys in the beginning. My opponent was surprised that I didn't. He knew about what this guy can do, but honestly, I don't think it would have done much good. If this guy can just deploy wherever he wants, he's going to line up a decent shot in the beginning, and he's got some kind of setup where he can see with his big gun. He doesn't, it's got like a scope or something like that, so the darkness doesn't bother him. So this guy is like 106 reputation, and he's 0 funding. So this blows my mind. Like, I haven't had much of a problem about people's funding or reputation costs or whatever. If some stuff is a little off, it hasn't bothered me thus far, but well, you'll see about this guy. And the 0 funding thing really shocked me because he's not the leader. Batman is the leader, but he's got an affiliate Batman, which allows him to join the Batman crew. So technically, he's a free agent. Normally, he would be like a leader in the Scarecrow gang, I guess. So they set his funding at 0, but in this particular case, here he is a free agent and his funding is still 0, which seems like an oversight on Night Model's part. But there you go. Now, in addition, there are no henchmen in this crew. However, I haven't read the Arkham Knight sourcebook, which I think is where a lot of this stuff is coming from. He's still able to spend all that excess funding on his guys. Like, Batman has this improved bat armor that gives him +1 stamina or something like that, and somehow he's able to give these guys extra ammo clips. I don't know how it works because I just haven't read the rules. Again, that might be hot tip right there. Know the rules, because some of this stuff was a little shocking. It's the first round, my opponent takes the lead, and it's the Speed Force phase. So I start off kind of mellow, I just move Reverse Flash up 10 centimeters. And then he gets to go, and since he's starting out first, he goes before anyone else, he takes his Arkham Knight and he opens fire on Heatwave. Now, this is rough. He's got a scope or something that allows him to ignore pings, and he's got rapid fire or something like that, so his sniper rifle can fire 3 times in a round, and it does 3 blood damage a hit. The only good news about this is that he doesn't have ranged master or master marksman or anything like that, but he does hit twice. He hits Heatwave twice, and I think he even does a crit for an extra stun damage. So right off the bat, he's done 6 blood and a stun to Heatwave, and he's looking in really bad shape. And, well, you know, it's cool. Heatwave's got 8 endurance. If anyone's going to take that punch to the face, he can. But, alright, that set the tone for how I feel about Arkham Knight right away. So I figure Heatwave's not long for this world. I wouldn't be surprised if Batman just zips in and batarangs him into unconsciousness. So I'm going to use him right away. So I run him forward, and I'm going to get to use my flamethrower. I even take a picture of this newly printed spray template that I've never tried before. I run out there and I hose Arkham Knight down with flames, and I forget that the guy has Acrobat. I mean, I should have just assumed, right? He's a former Robin, but he's got a couple movement dice left over, and so he just dodges out of the way. So he passes, which makes sense. So I think, whoop, that was dumb. Well, I still have Captain Cold back there, so I'm going to take prisoner number 3 with his cooling generator. I'm going to run him up, and I'm going to freeze this Arkham Knight guy. So prisoner 3, prisoner with the axe, runs up, takes his cooling system out there, and chills Arkham Knight. Now he can't use any more movement dice, because he only used 1 movement die to dodge Heatwave's attack. So now he can't do that anymore. Batman didn't think he was going to do this. My opponent was a little bit surprised with me moving him up like this. So he didn't have Batman set up for the full beatdown attack, but he had 2 attack dice ready, so he really hates that cooling generator. Batman's going to back claw down, and he's going to punch prisoner 3 in the face. So he does his 2 attacks, he hits once, and I think he gets another crit again. So he's done 3 stun to the prisoner. My turn. Here's my grand plan. Captain Cold runs up. He's going to use his medium power freeze ray, cold gun, I should say, on Arkham Knight, because I'm already tired of that guy. And he's got he can't use movement dice anymore because, excuse me, I should say movement counters. He's got no movement counters anymore because I cooling generated him. I fire and I miss. That's too bad. You can probably even see my die right there coming up the 1. Now people are starting to get in my way. And so what I really want is I want to move the tube prisoner over to heal Heatwave with his med pack, but Captain Cold is in the way, and Turk is not helping either. So for the time being, I try to move Turk around to just kind of get into a position to help out with those twin pistols. Here comes Nightwing. He backclaws down in a position to run forward and beat people up with his clubs. I'll see that. I have my high security henchman, my psycho with the 2 knives. He runs up, hops over that barrier there, and he gets to my opponent's loot. He doesn't have the movement to pick it up just yet, but he is definitely threatening that. So if Nightwing wants to do something about that, he can. Otherwise, I'm going to run off with my cash. And of course, at the very end, Reverse Flash skips over to my ammo crate and racks up that sweet, sweet 3 victory points. And here finally we have the prisoner 1 with the medkit and the tube coming up yelling at Captain Cold to get out of his way so we can go patch up the bullet holes in Heatwave. Next turn, I'm not sure who takes the lead on this, but anyway, in the Speed Force phase, I just skip Reverse Flash out of the way a little bit. I move him 10 centimeters away so that people with guns can't go and plug him a bunch. Now, honestly, I probably shouldn't have. I probably should have just floated him around that area to at least tempt my opponent to shoot at him. But I think what I really didn't want to have happen is I didn't want Nightwing to run over and start bonking him on the head, because hand-to-hand combat is a lot harder to deal with speedsters than shooting. I've got all these movement counters, I can easily dodge any shots that come in, but my defense isn't great. I'm sorry, my defense is great, it's 5. But if I put defense dice into trying to stop someone like Nightwing or Batman, it's not going to go really well. And so I don't really want those guys running over and knocking Reverse Flash out. So I skip him over. I'm not worried about that lamppost right there. I just want him out of sight. It looks like my opponent took the lead again. And here is my next big shock with Arkham Knight. He has this Vanish ability. And that involves him throwing a smoke grenade, all right? And then he gets to move 20 centimeters, and then he still has enough dice to rapid fire his giant gun, because it doesn't count as moving. So he basically gets to fire a smoke grenade, move, and then fire 3 shots with a sniper rifle. And he can ignore the effects of his own smoke grenade. Now, if this is wrong, let me know, but this is the way it was explained to me. So he can throw his smoke grenade 20 centimeters, which he does. And this is where I should have been paying more attention, because I clumped my guys together. This was my whole master plan. I was going to keep these guys clustered together to help each other out. Well, that's great. That's great smoke range is what that is. So this smoke grenade falls down, and it gets everybody. It hits Heatwave, Captain Cold, and the prisoner with the axe. And so even if it's just a scratch, they're still going to take a stun damage, and Prisoner 3 takes stun damage and immediately passes out because he only had 4 endurance and Batman already did 3 to him. So he takes a stun, Captain Cold takes a stun, Heatwave takes a stun, and now they're all stuck in this smoke, especially bad for Captain Cold because he can't fire his gun while he's in there, and if he moves then he drops down to a rate of fire 1. Anyway, it's just bad news all around. In addition to that, he gets to teleport. Arkham Knight gets to zip himself on top of this building and open fire. So he puts 2 shots into Captain Cold and 1 shot into Heatwave. Heatwave, it just straight up kills. He can't take 9 blood. That's too much blood. So Heatwave is out. That's a bunch of victory points to my opponent. And Captain Cold manages to get hit once, but again he gets a crit, so I believe he takes 3 blood and a stun, which isn't fantastic. So my guys are just dropping on that front line, and there's this big cloud of smoke that I have to deal with. Good news is that 2 prisoners sitting right there, so I just have him use his med pack on the newly injured Captain Cold and take 2 blood away from him. Now it's Nightwing's turn, and he decides that he doesn't want the high security henchman running off with that loot, so he comes and he actually doesn't knock him out. He actually just beats him up a bunch. I think he does like 6 stun to him, but he also gets the crit where he knocks him down. So he runs over, knocks the high security henchman down, picks up the loot, he's got it now. But high security henchman isn't out. He's just really badly hurt and knocked down. So in my turn, he just stands back up. He tries to stick him once with the knife because I had to lose a bunch of dice after taking that much stun damage. He doesn't do anything. Okay, now we get to the good part. So Batman, he was going to beat up on Prisoner 3 there, but he's already knocked out, so he doesn't have to do that anymore. He runs up to the helipad and he fires some batarangs at Turk. And I think he does 2 stun to him, and that's fine. But now I'm like, okay, now here's someone I can deal with. Captain Cold jaunts over, fires his cold ray, or his cold gun at medium power on Batman, hits his 5 defense, gets the knockdown crit, and all of a sudden I'm feeling real good about this. So Batman takes a bunch of damage, and then Turk gets to go, and Turk unloads on Batman with his twin pistol. Well, he just gets to fire his 1 pistol because I had to lose some dice. But he still manages to come up with 2 hits, which cause a pile more damage onto Batman, and all of a sudden Batman's hurt. He's knocked down, injured, and I am enjoying this. Here's the next section here. I skipped ahead. I missed a couple pictures, but that's all right. I took the lead, and I immediately activate with Turk. For some reason, I thought I get bonuses to shoot at people when they're on the ground. I don't. But because Turk is hurt, he can still only fire with 1 of his pistols. But that doesn't matter because he still gets another hit through on Batman. So now Batman is on 1 stun, on 1 damage left. If he didn't have that enhanced bat armor or whatever that was, he'd be unconscious right now. So anyway, Batman is in serious trouble. It's my opponent's activation next. Batman gets up, throws another batarang at Turk, knocks him unconscious, and bat claws up to the opposite building and is looking to just stay the hell away from my guys. Captain Cold does not feel like he's in a generous mood and does not want Batman to get away just yet. He rounds the corner and he's going to fire his last medium power cold gun at Batman. And again, I just need to hit him. It's a beam weapon. That ping is not going to help him. He's defense 5, but I have ranged master, so I'm +1 to hit. All I need to do is hit that 4 up, and even if it's just a scratch, I still knock out Batman, but I miss. So Batman gets away. Almost got him, as they say in the old animated series. Oh, Nightwing didn't like high security henchman standing up again, because when he's in base-to-base contact, he contests the loot, I guess. I don't know. It's hard for me to keep track of this kind of thing. So he just beats him on the head with his stun baton some more, and now high security henchman's taking a little nap on the pavement. So Arkham Knight is now lacking for good targets. He's killed Heatwave, Prisoner 3 is unconscious, Turk is unconscious, and Captain Cold has run away. So he just bat claws down and grabs the loot in the center. He grabs my loot. Reverse Flash doing his old trick. He's just running back to that ammo crate. He's going to pick up those victory points because I need him now because I'm bleeding guys. And he's going to camp there. He's going to rustle through that ammo crate looking for his special doodad he needs for his time travel machine or whatever nefarious plan these guys are up to. And the Speed Force phase, again, I may have taken the lead on this. I don't really remember, but he's going to do the exact same thing again. He's going to jaunt over 10 centimeters, just try and stay out of line of sight. And here's one where I should have just stayed there. I should have tempted Arkham Knight into shooting me. I don't know if it would have worked. He probably wouldn't have, but I think Nightwing is a little far away now to really threaten Reverse Flash. No, I think my opponent took the lead again. So we're playing 6 turns. He's got 6 counters in the. He's got 3 counters in the bag. I've got 4 counters. So he's taken the lead 3 times. So he's got no more counters. But it's small consolation at this point when I really want to. I want to get the drop on these guys, especially if I want to take another shot at Batman, which I can't do now because it's his first activation and Batman moves away. He does not want to get freeze raid anymore. He's going to go just a little bit further away and try to just not be around Captain Cold. So then I get my next activation. Hey, guess what? In the recovery phase last round, high security henchman woke up because he's got endurance 8, and that's what he's going to do. So he pops up. He does not want to deal with Nightwing, but we sure don't like getting shot by Arkham Knight. So I'm just going to run up next to him and just make oogie boogie noises in front of him because I'm crazy. I'm wearing a straitjacket. I'm gonna go bother Arkham Knight a little bit. Nightwing, having loot and his new good buddy high security henchman having run away, he just bat claws up to hang out with Batman and asks why his bat cape is so stained with his own blood. Not really wanting to commit any of my other guys right now, I just move Reverse Flash back to the ammo crate. I've figured out that if Arkham Knight wants to shoot at me, he can do that all he likes. Nope, instead I find out that Arkham Knight has even more special abilities that I had no idea about. He jaunts forward away from high security henchman. Looks like on his way up the building, it looks like Nightwing threw a couple of his wingdings into the back of high security henchman's head, and so now he's taking another quick power nap. You can see that Prisoner 3 and Turk also, they did not wake up. So anyway, with that, Arkham Knight just hops over his prone body and he runs up, and I guess he has these electric hooks or something crazy like that. So he wanders forward and he throws electric hooks at Captain Cold, I guess, and he does just a pile of stun damage to him. And so Captain Cold, is he knocked unconscious? I want to say he is knocked unconscious. Yeah. So here I believe I just moved I don't know. I just moved Pipe Prisoner a little out of the way. He's too far away now to go get my objectives. Right now, he's just standing over Captain Cold and saying, "Hey, boss, come on, wake up, boss." It's my turn. I know there's 2 more ends in the game, and I know I'm going to take the lead for both of them. So here's the Speed Force phase. Reverse Flash, hey, it worked before. I'm going to keep doing it. Reverse Flash hops away from that ammo container. So my opponent has a plan now. He's going to take Nightwing. He's going to move him over to that far side of the building. I may have skipped a couple of things. Yeah, Nightwing moved over, and then on my recovery phase last round, my guys woke up again. Captain Cold, his stamina is plenty high. He woke up, and so he's basically trying to get away from various people. I think at this point my opponent is all out of batarangs, he's all out of wingdings, so I'm not too worried about Nightwing throwing stuff at me. I'm still terrified of Arkham Knight because he still has another full magazine for his big gun. And yeah, and he's still got another smoke grenade, so I don't know how he has all that stuff, but he does. So I'm going to run him up and maybe line up a shot with his full power freeze ray, because again, I'm out of medium power cold ray juice. I got no more. Uh-oh, here comes Batman. Batman's tired of Reverse Flash doing his suspicious criminal activity in that ammo crate, so he's going to run up to that ammo crate and he is going to try to deal with that bad guy speedster. Turns out I did know what I was going to do with Tube Prisoner. He's going to run up and he's going to bother Arkham Knight. I'm going to stand just outside of base contact with him. I'm not going to bother striking him because it's not going to do anything. But if he wants to move into me and try to punch me in the face, fine. If he wants to move away and try and shoot someone, that's fine, but it makes it more difficult for him. He decides that he's just going to move forward and punch me. He doesn't, actually. It turns out, of all the things that Arkham Knight can do, fight in hand-to-hand combat is not really one of them, so, you know, Tube Prisoner is doing just fine. And then, my high-security henchman, he yells, "Ha! Fooled ya!" He jumps up again, because he woke up last round in the recovery phase, and now the coast is clear. He's going to sprint towards my Titan container objective and try to get those victory points now that Batman seems intent on keeping Reverse Flash off of the ammo crate. But Reverse Flash has a plan of his own. He buzzes around, as speedsters do, behind Batman, and he unloads a series of attacks with the push what do you call it, technique. I spend my special, I'm going to do a push, I'm going to just punch Batman off this ammo container, and I'm going to get those victory points anyway. Nope, turns out I mess up my rolls, and I don't get that push, and so neither of us get those victory points. Okay, here we go. Last round of the game, this is it. The score is actually fairly close right now, but there's everything to fight for, because he could really pull away from me in this last round. Again, I'm feeling pretty beat up, but I know I've got I know I've taken the lead this round. So first person I activate is Captain Cold. Captain Cold has a job, and that is to freeze Nightwing solid. So he fires up the full power cold gun, and he manages to hit. So that's great news. There you see the big ice template going down underneath Nightwing. Now Nightwing, of course, has he has movement dice, and he's an acrobat, so he can dodge. But the problem is that my opponent has a very particular job in mind for Nightwing. Nightwing has to bat claw down and then get the objective that he's after, my Titan objective, and he only gave him 2 movement counters to work with. So he only has 1 movement counter to spend to dodge this thing. So he rolls the dice and he fails it. So Nightwing is frozen solid in this sheet of ice, and that is fantastic news for me because the cold gun has the cold special rule, go figure, so every time someone gets hit they lose a movement dice. So now Nightwing's going nowhere. I mean, he can move his 10 centimeters, but he can't backclaw anymore, so he gets nothing. He's not going to come down and beat up Captain Cold. He's not going to come down and grab that Titan objective. He's done. He's out of the game, and Captain Cold has probably prevented me from losing at this point. But here's more of this nonsense. So Arkham Knight throws down his last smoke grenade, he disappears, and he reappears next to High Security Henchman. He opens up with his 3 shots and just blows a big hole in High Security Henchman. I actually still don't think High Security Henchman dies. I think he takes like 6 blood damage, but again, he's got like 8 stamina, and so just a bunch of it gets converted to blood, and he goes and takes another nap, and he's not going to get to that Titan container. But otherwise, he is, at least I don't give up those victory points for him going casualty. Turk has nothing really to do. He tries to move forward, but really at this point, the only person that I could have taken out was Batman, and he's too far away. All these other guys are still wandering around with 7 endurance. He's not going to be able to finish anybody off. He fires off. He wanders forward and maybe fires a few shots at Arkham Knight. It's not going to make any difference. Okay, but this makes a difference. Batman decides he's going to go all-out attack. He's going to punch Reverse Flash into unconsciousness, and that's how he's going to claim this. That's how he's going to claim this ammo container. I mean, it's my ammo container. He's not going to get points for it, but he's going to prevent me from getting points for it, and he's looking to get the points for knocking out my free agent. So he starts rolling a pile of dice because Batman has combo with his fists, and all of a sudden I start getting a little worried because even though these speedsters are really hard to bring down, they're defense 5, but Batman has combo with the fist, so he just gets a pile of dice to attack. And he's also close combat master, which means he gets a +1 to hit, and he has reinforced gloves and a 3+ strength. So that means that if he gets enough hits on a 4-up, he can do enough stun damage to knock Reverse Flash out. So I'm getting pretty concerned here. So Batman just unloads on Reverse Flash. I think he ends up getting 3 hits on him, but I've got 3 defense dice that I've set aside. But Batman has an attack of 5, so I need 5s or more. Well, guess what? Reverse Flash absolutely sees all this coming. He's from the future. He's a speedster. He's not going to get hit by any of this stuff. He just dodges all those attacks and doesn't take a scratch. Now, I do mess up. My plan was to do the exact same thing again. I was going to just push Batman off of this objective and claim those sweet victory points, but I screw up with my action counters and I forget to put one in special. Doesn't really matter. I'm still thrilled that I didn't get knocked out. I did get fast combo, so my 3 attacks turned to 6 attacks, and I'm thinking, maybe I get lucky and I knock Batman out. He did recover a bunch of stuns when he was up on that rooftop, but the numbers don't come up. It was a long shot. He doesn't knock Batman out, and because I screwed up my action counters, he doesn't push him off the objective. So there you have the end of the game, and it turns out to be a tie. It's something like a 10-12 and 11-13, something like that. My opponent gets just a couple more victory points than me, but hey, I will take it. I felt like I was getting my teeth kicked in that whole game, and I didn't take out any of his crew, and still I managed to get a tie out of that. I feel that that's fantastic. You know what? It would have been a 12-14. It was a 12-14 game because I would have gotten 12 points from just hanging out on that ammo crate the whole game. So Reverse Flash earned me all my points. He just sat there making me buckets of victory points, and it turned out to be enough to keep me in the game. I'm not sure if my opponent could have won the thing by, instead of disappearing and targeting High Security Henchman, if he had vanished and ended up on that shipping container and gunned down Captain Cold, if that might have done it. I'm not sure if that would have turned it around for him or not. It was a difficult choice any way you slice it. There were some things that definitely could have shifted it for my opponent. There were some things that actually could have shifted it for me. If I had nailed Batman with that one shot and brought him down, that would have been a big swing. But hey, this was a really fun game. I did enjoy using the Legion of Doom crew, even though I might have to rethink how I want to use these guys. Certainly I want to think harder about what my opponent is bringing, because bunching guys up, as I learned, can lead to some pretty big problems. And so anyway, I'm definitely going to be more aware of what Arkham Knight can do in the future. Just a ton of fun. I'm sorry I didn't get to go to the tournament, which was about a week ago. I hope you guys liked it. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or if I got any particular rules wrong that you think I should know about for the next time. Thanks for watching. I will see you on the next one.